From the ancient Greek, Beryllos referred to a mineral composed of beryllium aluminium silicate. It referred to a precious blue-green color of sea waterstone, and it served as the root for the word beryllium. Among the lightest alkaline earth metals, beryllium is a brittle, steel-gray element. Although a number of workers in the United States have been exposed to airborne beryllium, little is known about the health effects of the element. Beryllium gets ingested or inhaled by many individuals. In the workplace, the principal route of exposure is through the lung. This route damages the mucosal lining and is extremely toxic. Symptoms include pulmonary pneumonia and chronic beryllium disease, or CBD. Acute beryllium disease, also known as acute beryllium pneumonitis, is a disease that may affect the lungs, nose, throat, and windpipe. It typically occurs in persons who have been exposed to high levels of soluble beryllium. Its duration is about 1 year. Chronic beryllium disease, or chronic beryllium pneumonitis, begins after prolonged exposure and is characterized by granulomas in the lungs. The process of its development is not completely known. Educating workers about the hazards of beryllium exposure can help reduce the risk of CBD. IARC, or the International Agency for Research on Cancer, classified beryllium as a Group 1 carcinogen in 1994. Its designation was reaffirmed in 2009. During the early years of U.S. nuclear weapons production, dozens of workers developed a disease dubbed acute beryllium disease. This disease, like many, was expensive to treat, but the U.S. government started to pay for its treatment by reimbursing workers for its costs. During the Manhattan Project, the U.S. government began funding a program of research on beryllium. This was focused on the element would eventually result in a number of studies on the potential health effects on people. The Atomic Energy Commission, AEC, developed a standard for exposure to beryllium and adopted it in its facilities. The AEC incorporated adherence to the beryllium exposure limit in its contracts with manufacturers. In the early 1970s, peak beryllium concentrations were observed in the northeastern part of the United States. Radiation levels were found to be much greater in facilities that were not under the supervision of the Nuclear Weapons Authority. However, the total number of industrial processes with beryllium exposure has increased over the past 2 decades. The first pure beryllium was discovered by French chemist Antoine Bussy in 1828, and the element was subsequently isolated by German chemist Friedrich Wöhler. The element is also known for its bivalent nature, and is soluble in water below pH 5.5. Beryllium is a rare element that is found in extremely small amounts throughout the Earth's crust. When it comes to beryllium production, the U.S. dominates globally. As much as we know, in 2010, 85% of the beryllium produced worldwide came from Spore Mountain in Utah. But we cannot underestimate several other important producing countries of beryllium, such as Brazil, Czech Republic, China, and Germany. Among the alkaline earth metals, beryllium has a lot of properties that are unique to it. The main difference resides on its higher melting point, and additionally, its coefficients of thermal expansion is rather low. Because of this, it may be used in electrical devices. The combination of its moderate boiling point with great toughness makes it a promising material as a hardening agent for alloys. Beryllium-containing alloys are used in oil and gas equipment, telecommunications infrastructure, and automotive electronics. The metal itself is used in nuclear fusion technology. It finds applications in many consumer goods, from cellular phones to PCs. It's also a common lubricant in hydroelectric equipment. Both the aerospace and electronics industries make use of beryllium. It is useful as a radiation filter and is employed in windows for X-ray tubes. It is used in aircraft braking systems, computer parts, and inertial guidance systems. In addition to that, it may function as a neutron's input. Enrico Fermi used beryllium as a neutron source in 1942. It has potential for use in power reactors. This is because it has a very small cross-section for thermal neutrons. During the Cold War, beryllium was an important component in military defense weapons. It was also crucial to the production of neon bulbs. Since then, several industries have benefited from its utilization. Applications of beryllium include fire control systems, high-technology ceramics, radar electronic countermeasures, electric insulators, rocket nozzles, crucibles, and more. It is commonly mixed with base metals such as aluminum and copper to improve the properties of these materials. The concrete strength utilization of beryllium is only one of the many ways in which this versatile metal is put to good use. It has excellent strength and resistance to vibrations.